Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is May 2nd, 2023, and we're getting into the volume 80 of me answering your immigration related questions. As you can see, I have all your comments pulled up here. Before I begin though, I'm going to mention I am not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information that I provide in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State. So let's start with the very first comment from Hashim Al-Naji, and I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing the names. I want to complain against USCIS for a committed action by USCIS. Hashim, so you commented on my immigration lawyer screwed me over video. Let me know a little bit more details of what happened, and I might be able to give you a little bit of a better recommendations. But one recommendation that I could give you now is, and for everyone who's watching, if you know, dealing with immigration is dealing with government stuff, agencies in general, and the system that is built around this government stuff, like attorneys, and it can be stressful. And I have not seen a single case that was without problems, that went smooth and no problems along the way. So with that being said, don't rush to give in into your emotions. Don't do anything that might cause issues with your case. You don't want to hurt yourself, basically. But at the same time, don't leave it up to somebody to decide what's going to happen with your case. Definitely stay in control. Definitely try to, establish your position as someone who is aware of everything that is going on, instead of simply just, relying on them making a decision. With that being said, if you have a problem with USCIS, if you have contacted them directly over the phone and you had a conversation with them and, it didn't work out, if you have submitted a case inquiry and it didn't work out, as long as you're still polite, still professional with them, with the communication, and they're not responding, they're not satisfying your requests, then the best thing to do is to reach out to local elected officials. And that can be, it can be a senator, state senator, it can be state representatives, for example. It can be literally any elected official office that you can reach out to and ask them on your behalf to reach out to these government agencies. Most of the times at least in my experience, the cases that I work with, that I've seen, that usually takes care of little issues that are, like something along the lines of not getting an update on your case. But I do have a video specifically on addressing complaints with USCIS and in general government agencies. So check it out. Maybe it will be helpful. But like I said, if you can come back and let me know in a little bit more details, I might be able to provide a little bit more information. Just make sure, please don't respond to my comment within your comment, because I don't get notifications for those. Please submit it as a separate comment. All right, let's move on to the next one from Sajjad. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing. Hello sir, my question is this: if my priority date became current in next month in chart B, and after that have fully accessed my NVC account in next month, how much time need to becoming documentarily qualified? Saeed, excellent question. Thank you very much for asking. So if you have not seen the video that I have literally just posted yesterday, it's specifically about becoming documentarily qualified. I was really lucky to get access to a real case that was a little less than 2 years ago, that the person already got the permanent residence card, but basically it's a real NVC portal that is already documentarily qualified, and there I show the dates, how long it took for them, talk about the categories, to talk about everything that is involved in the process. And most of the times, whenever it comes to becoming documentarily qualified, a lot of that depends on the petitioner beneficiary. All right, because it is petitioner beneficiary that submitting the documents, affidavit of support, paying the fees, and of course trying to establish the sponsorship. Petitioner is trying to establish that they are a sufficient sponsor. So if everything is submitted promptly, so let's say Tomorrow you got the access to the NVC portal. Tomorrow you have paid all the fees, submitted all the documents, including the affidavit of support, including the immigrant visa application, DS-260, and also the civil documents and financial documents, which financial documents are part of the civil documents. Usually, whenever you submit everything, NVC, they can take up to 2-3 months to do a review. They review it. If everything is good, no problems, that's it. They documentarily qualify you, and if your immigrant visa is already available, they transfer your case to the U.S. Embassy, and U.S. Embassy schedules the interview. So that's pretty quick. But let's say, for example, you submit all the documents, and 3 months down the road, NVC comes back and says, well, it looks like it's not enough of the income for the petitioner, for the main sponsor, to establish their ability to be a sponsor. So a joint sponsor is required, like it was in the case that I'm showing in the video that I posted yesterday, that is called documentarily qualified. What does that mean? Then, of course, additional time is required to find a joint sponsor, add them, provide their documents, and then submit it, and then again for the NVC to review the case. You get the point. So a lot of it depends on the petitioner and beneficiary. That's why I definitely recommend trying to prepare everything in advance. That's why definitely check out that video. I think it's going to be helpful for everyone who has the I-130 petition pending and that did not get to the NVC stage yet, because by watching that video, you will know exactly what you need, what NVC expects from you to become documentarily qualified, and you can start preparing all of that stuff, so that once you have the full access to the portal, you can just pay all of that, submit all of the documents, and that's it. Just wait for them to review it. All right, so let me pause this, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Andrew Keener. Thank you for this video. You're very welcome, Andrew. Thank you for watching. I'm currently in contact with someone in the Philippines. What if it's a hardship financially to travel? I live in the Washington D.C. area of Virginia in the U.S. Airfare alone costs around $2,000 to $3,000 to Philippines, and up. I don't have that kind of money to take a vacation. So that question was posted on the K1 visa application. Basically, it's a visa for fiance, and it's so Andrew. It's a great question, because it is one of those requirements that allows for kind of a wiggle room. You can do it without it, right? It's a requirement, but you can get away without doing it. Basically, meeting prior to applying for that fiance visa. It's definitely recommended to meet up beforehand, and obviously makes sense, right? Rather than just inviting the person, it makes sense. It's common sense. But at the same time, especially with the situations like hardship, and absolutely, you have a very valid reason. Philippines, it's a long way. It's not easy, especially these days with air travel, with all the restrictions that we had, and now there is crazy stuff going on in, this whole situation with, you get the point. So absolutely, you can definitely do that. With that being said, you probably should be prepared for some additional questions that might come up because of this, but you shouldn't have any problems answering those questions. Just be prepared, with some financial documents showing that, tickets, prices, go to the Google Flights, pull up all the available tickets that are available, take some screenshots, keep them for your record, just in case if USCIS comes back and says, hey, can you show us why it was so hard for you to go travel and why you didn't meet? Or maybe have kind of like a backup plan where you considered some other options, maybe meet up somewhere halfway and not all the way to Philippines, and why that wasn't possible too. For example, maybe it was for her it was hard to travel out of the Philippines, maybe it wasn't an option, but just be prepared for these extra questions, right? That you might possibly have because you guys didn't meet up. But you can still definitely do that. That should not be a problem. Just make sure that you're kind of prepared for additional questions. So let me pause this and we're gonna move on to the next one from Gad Ateo. Gad says, thank you for responding to my question. I will call them tomorrow. Gad, you're very welcome. Thank you for asking. Hopefully you can resolve that. Let's move on to the next one from Jay Modi. Hello, hope you're doing well. Thank you, appreciate it. On April 25, 2023, I submitted all my documents to EAC. All right, awesome. Below of affidavit of support and civil documents shows submitted, and I also received DS260 confirm email shows completed. Perfect. How much time NVC take to review my case? And currently at NVC, my status is action required. Submit requested documents. Okay, so Jay, excellent question. Thank you very much for asking. I want to address the very last sentence that you put. Well, not the very last sentence, but the that your status says action required. Submit requested documents. Make sure to go through the documents once again and double check to see if you have everything that was requested, because usually I don't think it should say action required, because if you submitted everything, then on your end there is no more action required unless it is referred to the NVC action required to review the documents. But just to be on the safe side, make sure to go through all the documents and make sure that everything is submitted. Now, to address your question whenever it comes to the timing, usually once you submit all of the documents, about 2-3 months, in some cases it might be faster, in some cases it might be a little bit slower. I think it might have to do with the availability of the immigrant visa. This is just, don't take this word for as a fact or anything like that. This is just my personal kind of like the guesswork. But I've seen that most of the times whenever it is immediate relative and the immigrant visa is always available for that category, I have noticed that in those situations, usually NVC, they're pretty quick, 2 to 3 months, and they review everything. But they might take a little bit longer, maybe in cases where it's, the immigrant visa is not available yet and there is still time, so they are not in a rush to review that, and it might take a little bit longer. So I would say it might also depend on whether the immigrant visa is already available for your case or not, and which category you are in. But usually it is 2 to 3 months. But Jay, please double check once again, just to be on the safe side. Make sure that you have submitted everything with the NVC, because this is a little bit strange. Why is it says submit requested documents? Because if you submitted everything, I don't think it should be saying that. All right, let's move on to the next one from Rihanna Chowdhury. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. Thanks for all updates. You're very welcome. On I-130 immigration visa process. Watching your channel from a couple of weeks. Thank you very much, Rihanna, for watching. Where can I see the full list of countries for families? I-130 visa bulletin. Okay, Rihanna, I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I'll give you 2 answers and you pick whichever one you meant in your question. So if you're referring to in general for the categories that, the chargeability area, whenever it comes to literally everyone besides China, Philippines, Mexico, and India, then in that case, you are just looking at the visa bulletin, all chargeability. This is for all the countries except China, India, Mexico, Philippines, because they have their own chargeability areas. All the other countries are falling under all chargeability areas. So that's that. That's for obviously for the visa categories that have that cap. So there is a annual cap on the amount of visa that are being issued each year. But if you are referring to all of the countries and the numbers, how many immigrant visas are actually issued and in which categories and the numbers. In that case, you're going to be working with the visa statistics. You can find that page that we're going to go to through the link that is in the description below for the visa bulletin. If you click on it, you will have this visa bulletin in front of you for May 2023. We're going to go to visa statistics on the side here. I'm going to open it in the new tab. And of course, it's taking forever. So we're gonna click on not monthly, but we're gonna go report of by the year, because this is a little bit more finalized, a little bit more, accurate rather than the monthly. Monthly doesn't show all of the categories for some countries for whatever reason. I don't know why, but we're gonna go to family preference, obviously, because we're looking for family preference. And there you go. You will find all the countries in each, it's divided by the continent, and for each country you will see exactly how many immigrant visas in each category has been issued, and then the total numbers. So if that's what you're looking for, there you go. If you didn't need that, then yes, I already answered this question. All right, so let me post the answer to this, and we're gonna move on to the next one from See It Magnesia. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name, I probably am. I sponsor my brother I-130. Approved case in NVC. Priority date 2011 January. Can you please tell how long more to come? Crunt. Not sure what crunt means, but basically to wait. So see it, congratulations. For brother, that's F4 category. It's a forced preference category, and that's a category that takes absolutely forever. It takes the longest, all right? And you can see it. See it, been waiting since 2011. 2011, that is 12 years. Crazy amounts of time. But it's finally approved, case in NVC, so you have your priority. Let's take a look at the visa bulletin. Priority date is in 2011. Now, see it didn't tell us. Did he tell us? No, he didn't tell us which chargeability area, but that's fine. We will just look at all chargeability area. But for everyone who's watching and see it, if you are in China, India, Mexico, Philippines, then you will be looking at these dates. If you are in any other country, whatever country it is, then you're looking at all chargeability dates. So we know that your priority is in January 2011. Right now, looks like the NVC portal opens up fully to become documentarily qualified for people that have filed back in February 2008. So 3 more years, looks like, roughly 3 more years before you can have a full access to the NVC portal. And then, roughly, if you will look at the documentarily qualified dates, there's about 1 year from then. So once the NVC portal opens up, you will be busy submitting the documents, submitting the affidavit of support, all of that stuff, paying the fees. So you will be preoccupied with stuff. And then once you're documentarily qualified, which can take about up to 6 months because of back and forth, you will be really, really close to the availability of the immigrant visa. And so roughly 3 to 4 more years before the completion of the process in general. So you're really close. You're almost there. Congratulations. For F4 category, I can personally relate because I do have a petition for my brother too, and I still have to wait a very, very long time before. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one from Veronica Garcia Farfan. I'm category A12 for the I-131. Can I apply for advanced parole, or I am considered a refugee? Veronica, thank you for your question. So, A12, I am pretty sure this is temporary protected status. But please correct me if I'm wrong. If you can, submit a separate comment and let me know if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure A12 is the temporary protected status, or within that kind of general category as a subcategory of a temporary protected status. So in case if that's true, in case if you really are in a temporary protected status, in that case you will be selecting the advanced parole. You will be applying for advanced parole, and I'm pretty sure that is an option 1D on the 131. But you know what? I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to demonstrate navigation on USCIS because I think it's, the more you watch the navigation on USCIS on where to find stuff, how to find answers, it becomes easier for you. It becomes easier for everyone who's watching these videos, and I think it, at least to me, when I saw other people, explain me forms back, 10 years ago, 15, no, not 10 years ago, it's like 14 years ago, it was a little bit reassuring. It gave me confidence, say, if they can find all the answers on the website, then I can find all the answers on the website. So let me just play around with the website, look around, and see if I can figure it out. And I think I might have a little bit. So this is the official USCIS, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services website. You can find the link in the description below. One tip that I always give in every video: make sure that the websites that you're getting your information from are official government websites, and you can tell by the ending GOV. No regular organization, business, whatever can get a GOV, only government organizations. So we're gonna go to forms right here at the top. And with that being said, doesn't mean that everything that comes from the government is good, but the information, even if it's silly and ridiculous, at least we know that it is updated because it's directly from official government source. And then all forms, that's a disclaimer. And then we will find the form I-131. You can scroll down because it's a numerical order, and it's all of the immigration forms. All of the applications, petitions are here in this list. Or you can just type it up, 131, and that's our application for travel document. We're gonna go here. It's not available to file online, only for through the paper by mail. So we're actually gonna go open up the form itself. You can find the PDF documents, instructions, and the form itself. I'm gonna open it in a new tab, and starts with the information about you. But here we go in part 2. We are actually selecting what we are applying for. So let me see, 1D. I'm applying for an advanced parole document. Yes, that's it. Okay, so it's definitely 1D. I'm applying for advanced parole document to allow me to return to the United States after temporary foreign travel. That's in case if you're in temporary protected status, that's what you are applying. Alrighty, let me put this, and we're gonna move on to the next question. Comment from Listen. Listen, hello, I am seeking for answer. Please help. I'll do my best. Me about my issue because 5 years ago when I was approved for an immigrant visa in the US, the consular asked me if I have, okay, so you were approved for immigrant visa for the United States, and then you went to the US Embassy, and the consular asked you if you have a child. I said no, even though I have 3 children. Ooh, I said no because I'm afraid that I could be denied. Will it affect if I file a petition for my children? Please help me, thank you. Listen, I think I would like to get a follow-up comment on this with a little bit more clarification. Why were you afraid to say that you have children? Why did you think that your visa is going to be denied? Immigrant visa, obviously, if you were getting the immigrant visa, also let me know based on what you were getting the immigrant visa. Was that a family petition, I-130, petition for alien relative? Was it based on employment? What was it based on? Because when whatever it is that you're applying in the application form, you always put, your children, and you had 3 children. So why were not they added? I guess this is really my question. That's where I'm going with this. Why were not your children added on the initial application that allowed you to get to the stage where you go to the US Embassy to apply for that immigrant visa? I think that's the question that I have, the main question. Because if your children are unmarried under 21 and you go and you get an immigrant visa, and it's based on family reunification, I-130 petition, then your children are considered derivative beneficiaries and they can travel with you. without even, worrying about submitting the petition for them. But if they are over 21, married, then yes, you would need to file the petition, the I-130 petition for them, so far so forth. So help me with that a little bit so that I kind of have a little bit of a better understanding. But now let's look at the situation that we have at hand. So you got the immigrant visa, you came here, and now if you file the petition, obviously we're looking at a potential situation where this might come up and they say, hey, wait a second. When you were getting your immigrant visa, the information that we had is that you don't have any children. And now you're petitioning for your children. I don't know what are the chances of that coming up, but I would say the chances are pretty high of that coming up, because depends on, it's really hard to tell. Please let me know a little bit more details. Why? What happened? Why were you worried that the visa will be denied? Because, okay, so I have children. Why would my visa be denied because of that? Or I don't have children. Why would I have more chance being approved just because I don't have children? I cannot put that two and two together. So if you can clarify that and help me with it, I might be able to give you a little bit more information. But because there's a little bit of a tricky stuff involved there, I would definitely recommend reaching out, trying to find a good family immigration attorney. I do have a separate video on how to find a good attorney, what are basically the qualities that you're looking for in a good immigration attorney. So definitely start shopping around for a good attorney, do a few consultations, and see what they recommend, because this might have potential questions from USCIS and the Department of State during the consular interview for your children, potentially when they will be going through the interview. The questions that you don't want to deal with. So yes, if you can come back, please let me know a little bit more details, and definitely start shopping around for some attorneys. Let's move on to the next one from Marites Ramos. There are a few questions from Maritos. Actually, no, I think there's just one question with a few comments. How can my status be documentarily qualified? Until now, I don't have a documentarily qualification. Just waiting for mine. How long to process USCIS to NVC? Okay, so your case is still with the USCIS. My priority date was October 7, 2019. My case is F2B. Okay, so F2B is children of permanent resident. So if we look at the visa bulletin, F2B, unmarried sons and daughters over 21 of permanent residents. So because your case is still with USCIS, let's take a look at the USCIS website and we will check the processing times. So we're gonna go to tools, and then we're gonna go to case status online. And I'm sorry if I'm going too fast. If you have any questions along the way, let me know in the comments below and I'll do a little bit slower. But US processing times, visit page, and then we're going to select I-130 because that's the petition that we have at hand. And then we are looking for permanent resident for unmarried son or daughter, 21 or older. That would be F2B. And let's see, you didn't tell me which service center it's processed at, but for now I will do California, whatever. Let's see what's going on in California. So 58 months divided by 12. Wait a second. 58 months divided by 12 for almost 5 years. So almost 5 years at the California Service Center. Let's check Texas Service Center. 40 divided by 12. A little bit over 3 years. And you have your petition priority date in 2019. So depending on which service center your case is at, looks like it very well might be still within the normal processing time. If we look at the visa bulletin, we will see the F2B is showing January 2017, which is just 2 years behind your priority date. So it means that about 2 more years roughly you will be waiting until your case is transferred from not transferred from USCIS to NVC, but more so the NVC opens up the full access to the portal where you can become documentarily qualified. And then after that there is about another 1.5 to 2 years again for becoming documentarily qualified and the availability of the immigrant visa, because it is showing in the graph A that the visas are becoming available for, F2B category for people that have the priority dates back in September 2015. So roughly 2 more years for the full access to the portal at the NVC, and then roughly 1.5 to 2 years for the whole completing the documentary qualification process and then getting your interview scheduled and getting your actual immigrant visa. So with that being said, thank you everyone for tuning in for today's video. If you have any follow-up comments, just post them in whatever video. It doesn't matter whichever video you post them in, they come up on this wall. Just make sure don't respond to my comment within your comment, because then I don't see, the YouTube does not send me those notifications for whatever reason. But thank you very much for tuning in. Always appreciate your time. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.